Right, I'm not really making this video to go on about how long it stood and how easy it started and everything, but all that applies. Needless to say, it was fully wet sumped again. It stood for quite a while, this one, doing nothing, and I decided that today I'd drag it out and start it up, and maybe rather than just sort of run it for a few minutes and warm it up and then put it back again, I'd actually ride it somewhere. So I just did a short long way round trip to the filling station and back on it, topped it up with fuel, and it's proved something that I suspected actually, because when I obviously before I started it up today, there was no oil at all showing on the dipstick in the tank, but there was a little bit of oil in the bottom of it, so I knew it had gone into the engine. So I just started it up and just let it tick over, held it at a tick over about 1000 to 1500 RPM for a while, and sure enough, in a matter of a couple of minutes it had pumped everything it could from the crankcase back into the tank. But the reading on the dipstick in the tank seemed a bit low, and I remember it doing it last time when I did just start it up and run it for a few minutes and put it back. So I thought, well, today what I'll do is I'll actually do a few miles on it, and then I'll pull the dipstick out and have a look at it when I come back. And sure enough, it's back where I expected it should be. Let's have a look, see if we can do this. The seat doesn't open all the way thanks to the rack, which sort of gets in the way, but there is enough room to get the oil filler cap out and see how much oil you got. And this one actually is a Friday afternoon dipstick, in that the full line is the lowest one, and then there's an arrow to add 1 pint. Oh, hang on, sorry, I'm the wrong way round actually, aren't I? I'm getting it. Yeah, the full line is the lowest line, and then there's an arrow up to a higher line where it says add 1 pint. But anyway, we're not far off the top line, which is where I like to keep it and where I like to find it. It doesn't generally use oil, this one, because it had rather a lot of money spent at Norman Hyde's on the engine years ago. It's got an 850 or 831 Hyde top end, and the cylinder head also went to Hyde's for a bit of a holiday. That's why it goes as well as it does. Anyway, regarding the oil level on the dipstick, I've got a theory, and I think I'm possibly right. If I run the engine wet sumped for a couple of minutes, oil returns on the dipstick up to a certain point and then fizzles out a little bit lower than where I'd like it or expect it to be. However, do a few miles on it and the oil level fully returns to where it ought to be on the stick. And I reckon the side stand and the primary chain case are the culprits. When it's leaned over on the side stand, oil can obviously get into the chain case because there's no seal between it and the crankcase. And then when you start the engine up, even on the centre stand, the oil doesn't immediately return from the chain case to the crankcase, where it gets scavenged in the crankcase and returned to the tank. But with enough running time and warmed up a bit and a few miles, the oil level in the primary case will drop via the crankcase, where it gets pumped out and returned to the tank, and that's when you see the dipstick showing the full amount of oil that you'd expect it to show. So it's something I've never really given any thought to before, but I started wondering about it today, and I think that's a possible explanation. So I just thought I'd share that one, but no footage of the ride to the filling station today, because I suppose there's only so many trips to the filling station you can do really and film them, isn't it? But it was an uneventful ride, all went well, and now I'm going to wheel this one back inside, and I don't think we're going to be doing too much more with it this year, because no doubt they'll be chucking the salt around on the roads before too long, and I'm certainly not going to be taking this out in that anymore.